Okay, folks, welcome back to Battle for Azeroth. I wanted to mention something from the point of view of a healer and somebody who occasionally tanks. I've been hearing some different things about tanking in Battle for Azeroth, so I've been playing around on some of my tanks. And I've noticed something that has kind of been I guess you could say, an issue since Demon Hunters came out, and that is with their talents. More specifically, their level 100 talent. That is with Feast of Souls. And the issue is that it increases the amount that Soul Cleave heals you for. Now, I was vaguely curious, so I went back and looked, and according to Wowhead, which was the only just doing a quick search, was the only place I found a change log. The only difference between Feast of Souls and Soul Cleave, as far as the healing, is that it used to heal by percentage. Now it just heals for a base amount. So it more or less does what it always did. Soul Cleave would heal you for a percentage, and Feast of Souls would just increase that percentage. Soul Cleave now heals you for a base amount, and Feast of Souls now increases that base amount by not quite double. The thing I've been noticing as a healer, and I noticed this even in Legion, even in the pre-patch before Legion, if you pre-purchase Legion, you got early access to Demon Hunters, is that for some reason tanks don't take Feast of Souls, they take everything else. And these other two abilities, Fallout and Burning Alive, don't do anything for healing or survivability, they just focus on damage. So there's really no point in taking them. Feast of Souls, back originally, and even now, to a lesser extent, reminded me of how Death Strike worked for Death Knights. Whereas Death Strike would stack up charges, Soul Cleave would stack up soul fragments. So essentially the same thing. Death Strike no longer uses charges. However, Soul Cleave still consumes 2 soul fragments. So, and soul fragments, if I remember right. Maybe not. I thought there was a passive for that. Oh, there is. Consuming a lesser. This is lesser or is this soul fragments? Just soul fragments. A soul fragment will be consumed when you approach it, healing you for 5,500. Consuming a lesser soul fragment heals you for 8% of all damage taken in the last 5 seconds. Minimum 1%. Maximum health. Consuming a demon soul will grant you 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. So you're basically already getting healed between Soul Cleave and Feast of Souls for 2,700 on top of consumes 2 soul fragments on top of 10. So about 13, 14,000, which isn't too bad considering where the stats are with the stats squish. So, yeah. Even with, well, I'm not a fan of cookie cutter builds. Even when we had talent trees, there were choices that were mandatory if you wanted a viable spec. And I think Feast of Souls falls under that category. If either of these healed or did something for survivability, I could kind of see it. Fallout does have a chance to shatter a lesser soul fragment. That is a chance, whereas Feast of Souls is guaranteed each time with no cooldown. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is from me playing around, is Fail Devastation. I originally took this for PvP. However, it replaced my artifact, or took the place of my artifact, I should say. That was my big heal, and Fail Devastation works nicely in its place. It does have a 1-minute cooldown. However, I used to keep my artifact on cooldown. So for me, that really wasn't an issue. And I want to say this healed me for more at one single time than Soul Cleave did. With dungeons having so much trash, being so trash heavy, Fail Devastation worked nicely on those big trash pulls. And if you're keeping demon spikes up, maybe using metamorphosis when appropriate. There were times I would watch my health go down, so I would use Fail Devastation, just watch it go back up. It's rare that you have an ability that does damage and healing, where the healing is higher than the damage. Usually they're about even, or it leans towards damage. So, yeah. So I just wanted to, like I said, was kind of playing around and thought that was noteworthy. I've been in groups where demon hunters have taken one of these others and they've actually left after we've started because they just couldn't seem to stay alive and apparently couldn't figure out why. And just, I assumed they've rage quit or they were mad at me because they thought, well, the healer can't keep me alive or something like that. And you start to see how things are going when you go down that road. It's either, well, the DPS sucks or the healer can't keep me alive. It's generally one of the two things. So, and when I did a dungeon just to see, I thought that would be a good test trial run. And there was a holy paladin in my group, and I really had no trouble. We didn't wipe. I don't even think any of us died. Like I said, I just kept even spikes up, used metamorphosis when appropriate. Fail Devastation deserves a lot of credit for that, especially on the Anybody that's ran a dungeon in Battle for Azeroth knows it's not so much the bosses as it is the trash. So, and I was kind of deliberately pulling a little bigger just to um, again, kind of a trial run. Wanted to put things through their paces and see, and did fine. So I didn't do as well as I did on my Death Knight, of course. I'm not wearing plates, and how Death Knights and Demon Hunters work are slightly different. So, but not bad. Better than I would have thought. My impression of watching, of healing, and watching other Vengeance Demon Hunter tanks versus my impression of actually playing a Vengeance Demon Hunter tank was night and day. So I was pleasantly surprised. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was helpful for you, and thank you for watching.